This is ESPN Esports. I'm Arda Ocal. A little bit of a controversial, spicy topic in Valorant over the weekend, talking about tournament formats, comparing North America to Europe in particular. A lot of people unhappy with how European tournaments have unfolded, whether it's the teams that are able to qualify, who's invited, who's not invited. Some tournaments are being called clown fiestas, even by my colleagues, and also best of ones. Oh, the best of ones. We're going to get to all of that. So where are we right now? We've seen a couple of teams disgruntled at the fact that they aren't able to participate in major EU tournaments, in particular the LVL Global Tournament that is happening very soon in Europe. Two teams in particular, Looking for Org and SUMN FC, have taken to Twitter publicly saying, we can't participate in these tournaments for different reasons. I'm going to read a portion of their tweets from both organizations. Here's the one from SUMN FC. Unfortunately, we did not receive an invite to the Ignition Series. While the boys are all very disappointed, given we had beaten and knocked out some of the invited teams in past qualifiers, we understand the spots were limited. However, we didn't even get a chance to play a qualifier for this tournament. The tournament organizer stated that the qualifier was DACH region only, but then changed the rules merely hours before check-in and didn't announce the changes. We missed the minuscule window of being able to sign up to the qualifier, given they provided no information that the rules were changed, and we were only told by other managers and players much later. So that is the situation as it pertains to SUMN FC. Looking for Org also have a similar story, just not being invited because it seems as though they just don't have enough of a presence or enough followers. Here are their tweets right now. Imagine, empathize, you could be in our situation too. Imagine a tournament of Valorant. LVL Global doesn't invite teams to the Ignition Series that have proven to be successful, and it can be clearly stated by the admin that in doing so, success is not looked for. There are 14 invited slots, but no invitation for one of the top EU teams. When inviting teams to a tournament sponsored by Riot Games, it depends on factors such as your friendship and cooperation with the tournament officials, not merit, success, etc. So this is a big tournament, obviously. 15,000 euros are on the line. We've seen plenty of tournaments now in Europe, whether they are part of the Ignition Series or not. And this is definitely troubling, but we have to remember that we are still very early in the process. In many ways, Valorant Esports, for many tournaments, is like the Wild West. Do I anticipate this going on for the foreseeable future? At least until Riot officially gets involved. I think that Riot is taking a step back right now, having minimal involvement, looking at the esports landscape and how Valorant unfolds, and then they will continuously update and gather information and then make a decision to officially launch their esport, which you can certainly see being a very professional system, just like League of Legends, whether it's franchising or not, whether it's the CSGO model or not. We don't know that yet, but Valor, even maybe Riot doesn't know that yet. But when that does get put in place, you can bet that Riot will put their best foot forward. So right now, we are going to see these kind of discrepancies. We are going to see this kind of spice and controversy in these kind of tournament formats because we are in a situation where it's allowed to happen, so to speak. Tournament organizers can essentially create the type of tournaments they want, whether they are good, whether they are bad, whether they are accepted by the community, or whether they are not. And so until Riot comes in and says, this is what we want, we're gonna see more of this happen. What do I think of all this? I don't think it's as dire as people are making it out to be. Maybe they're frustrated because they're seeing some great tournament formats. The FaZe Invitational, to me, is a great blueprint, and I've said this before, on how a Valorant tournament should unfold. But just remember, like I said, we are still in this Wild West situation where Riot is surveying everything, looking at everything, and making their decisions. We will eventually get to a point where we will see a fully organized esports ecosystem for Valorant organized by Riot Games. We're not there yet. We're going to get there eventually, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to see tournaments we don't agree with along the way. Valorant is a very, very good foundation for a tier 1 esport that will be here for years and years to come. So in terms of tournament formats, for me, there are definitely some immediate fixes that we can look at, and we can say, maybe we can wean out some of these things here. The first thing that comes to mind for me is best of ones. I know that people don't like best of ones across any esport, but in particular for Valorant, it is especially tough because for many teams, you might be playing on a map that you are just horrible on, and that is the one you are forced to play on in a best of one with your tournament life on the line. Look at Team Liquid as an example. I'm going to pull up some statistics here. Team Liquid is great on Haven. They're 11-2 in tournament play. Meanwhile, on Ascent, they only have a 43% win rate. Imagine a situation and how mauling Team Liquid would be if they were forced to play on Ascent with their tournament lives on the line. Certainly can happen, certainly will happen in the future in a best of one format. I'm not saying best of one is exclusive to EU. We saw the Pittsburgh Knights tournament do the same thing, and we might see tournaments in the future have best of ones. But what I'm saying is, especially in Valorant, it is definitely not the way to go. And it is definitely counterintuitive to having a good tournament product. FaZe Invitational had a great group stage format, a great best of 3, best of 5 grand final format. I think they really set the tone on how future tournaments should be, and definitely European tournaments should be looking at that and saying, this is what we want to do out of our tournaments. But because they have the freedom to do so, they can do whatever they want. For me, I would say let's try and avoid best of ones as much as possible. Also, going back to the comments from the orgs that publicly posted on Twitter about the LVL Global tournaments, let's make it fair for everyone to qualify. Let's try not to change the rules within hours of a tournament starting. Let's try to make it as transparent as possible. Riot, to their credit, have been terrific in terms of communication on game updates, direction, etc. Why not have that for tournament organizers as well, so that they can be as clear and transparent as possible, being extra special with the communication so that everybody knows exactly where they stand and what they need to do in order to qualify for a tournament to make it as fair as possible. I'm a fan of the open qualifier format. I thought the Vitality Open was a great example of that. Have more opens, because there are orgs like Vitality that told me so, looking for teams to sign, and the open format is the best way to do that. So those are the two things that jump out at me. No more best of ones, and make it as fair as possible for every team to qualify. Will it happen in future tournaments? I certainly hope so, but it may not, because again, we're in a situation where anyone can do anything they want until Riot steps in. And to me, that's fine, because we are still in a much better position now than we have been in the past. Maybe EU tournament organizers can definitely learn from some of the formats in NA, but it is not as dire as people are making it out to be. Though this is a very controversial topic, I think we need to look at it and say, we are going in the right direction. Now's the time that we can look at certain things, especially the details, and say, this we can fix, this we can avoid, this we can do more of. Let us know in the comments below what you think of tournament formats. What annoys you the most about EU tournaments, and what would you like to see completely removed from future Valorant tournaments? Let us know in the comments below.